Hold on, Houndsman XP fans. We have got a two-part podcast for you today. The first part, we're going to be talking to Tanner Babb and getting his backstory. Tanner is our Gold Star veteran who is going to be going on an all-expense-paid lion hunt in January on the Navajo Nation, thanks to our partnership with Freedom Hunters. You can get all the information on how to donate to that cause. This is Veterans Day week. This episode is not coming out on Veterans Day by mistake. So today is the day. Make sure you check us out on our Facebook media page at Houndsman XP Podcast and add your name to the list of patriots who are supporting this effort. Steve was on the road, so we caught up with him while he was in transit, out wandering around in the mountains of the eastern United States, coon hunting, visiting friends and family. There's going to be a lot of information in that part of the podcast about news coming out about Houndsman XP, some conversations and things that we are doing with, that we've had and we are doing with our sponsor, W Hunting Supply. And, of course, more information about this great project we're working on with Freedom Hunters. So stay tuned. You'll be tempted to hit that stop button because we've got you conditioned with you follow your hounds and I'll follow mine. But that's not where it stops today. So roll on through that break and catch the second half of our podcast. Welcome to the Houndsman XP Podcast, and one of our co-hosts, Steve Fielder, is a man of the world, and he's out running around the East Coast, coon hunting and seeing family and all kinds of things today. So, Lauren, it's just me and you today.
Hey, I think we got it. You know, I made it through coon hunting last night, and I'm here. You got me up bright and early.
Yep.
So I'm excited to talk to our guests today.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, you're not up as early as one of our guests today, which is Calvin Redhouse. Calvin's up bright and early. Of course, he's up every morning out there in Arizona. So how you doing today, Calvin?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just enjoying this nice cold weather and getting outdoors every chance I get to start running the dogs on them long tails. Yeah.
Well, I've been tracking you on Facebook and stuff, and you've got snow up there. You're finding some lion tracks, but you really don't ever stop hunting because I see your posts on social media all the time.
Yeah, it's the only way you and your dogs are going to get better is if you're out in the woods all the time.
That's right. That's right. Mike Cawley always says, he said he'll be standing there with somebody that's trying to pick out a pup, and they'll ask him, they'll say, so which one of these pups is going to be the best? Do you think is going to be the best one out of the litter? And Mike always says, the one that's hunted the most.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
I'm sure that's true.
Yep.
I've got two puppies right now, and I'm trying to decide which one that, I should really only keep one. But I'm trying to decide which one to keep, and I know I won't be able to decide for quite some time.
Well, it seems like houndsmen always go through this. We always end up with more dogs than what we need. I've got way too many right now, and I don't have near as many as what Calvin has. But Calvin, how many dogs have you got out there? How many hounds do you have?
Including Kung Fu, that makes 16.
16.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to feed everybody? Feed and water.
Maybe about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Because the water, we have running water coming up from the stream up to the house. So what I do is I just, either unchain everybody or open up the kennels, and they run automatically to the water. So while they're at water, I'll be dumping out their dog food, and then they make their way back to me. So.
Oh, nice. So they know the system. They know the program.
Yeah, it takes a little while for them to understand it, but when they get it down, it's a lot easier.
Nice. And I saw your post with the first snow and the puppies, It looked like they liked it right away.
Oh yeah, they enjoyed it. They were. I think in the mornings I used to go down there just about every morning, just open up the kennel and they just roam free wherever they want on the property. So
every time I try to set up this system, Calvin, because I've got a creek running right past my house too, everything takes off. Everything goes hunting. I'm still trying to refine that I've got a couple plot pups here right now that I'm trying to break that habit so that they understand when we're hunting and when we're not. I mean, I kind of had this premonition yesterday or vision or something. I don't know what you would call it exactly, but my boxer, she knows when I'm going outside. She knows when I'm going hunting. She knows when I'm just going out to work. But there is no doubt that she understands all of that. And I was thinking, well, why can't I train or teach a hound the same stuff? That dog knows, Roxy, my boxer, knows exactly when it's time to hunt, when I'm going for a run or working out, or when I'm going out to work, or when I'm leaving. So what's the key to that?
I need this info too.
I know. I think it all depends on where you live. The only time the dogs know that we're going hunting is when I'm loading them up in the truck. If they're around the house, they know we're not going hunting because we don't do no hunting around the house. We drive maybe like 10 to 15 to 20 miles away from the house before we start hunting. So, I think they've learned that, when you load them up, it's time to go hunting. And then when they're not loaded up, then it's fine for them to do whatever they want. So I think that's the main key, because I know you said you got a river that you usually walk down with the dogs to, just let them run loose. So they automatically, I think maybe they automatically assume, every time they get let out, it's time to go hunt.
That's the key right there, because I've hunted a lot right from, I can basically turn loose right from the kennel and start hunting from the house. So I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you found the magic recipe. And Lauren, you experienced this the other night on your 3:30 in the morning coon hunt.
Yeah. I let the dogs out because the puppies were whining. I'm like, okay, I'll let them out and I'll let Piper out at the same time. And I put Piper out on the dog run, and then she started treeing on the den tree of course, it's right by the dog run, which is a cable that runs from the house to a big elm tree. And I mistakenly and stupidly let her off. I'm like, oh, sure, I'll let her tree for a while. Well, she treed for, I don't know, a couple seconds. And then I turned my head and she took the track out to the cornfield, which is 60 feet maybe from that tree, and started hunting at 3:45 in the morning. I'm in my pajamas and bare feet, and she didn't have a shock collar on or anything. I am next to two big highways, not interstates, but big. A lot of trucks come by. Thankfully, not at 3:45 in the morning.
Right.
But I was like, oh crap. And so I ran inside, put some boots on, got a jacket on, and headed in the truck down Highway 67 trying to listen for her. And I drive off the road into the soybean field, and I listen, and I hear her. And I didn't realize that the creek on the property is like really deep, cut into the ground, and it would be really hard for me to get back up off on the other side. So I'm like, okay, she's moving away from me. She's getting further. This isn't going to work. So I drive back around to the farm. I grab the gun. And I didn't even have my coon light with me. I just had like a little camping headlight. Because my coon light was dead because I'm really bad at charging things. So I grab the gun and I take the truck down the soybean field on the other side of the creek and get up to the corner, and I can hear her, and I'm like, oh, it sounds like she's gonna tree, but she's in the corn. Like, what? And then sure enough, she treed, and I'm thinking there are no trees that I know of over there. And I start walking in, and sure enough, there's just this little tiny tree, not like a brand new planted tree. It's just a smaller tree. And I looked at it and I just looked up for a second. I'm like, come on, there is no coon here. But I'm thinking, okay, I forgot to say, she caught this coon on the ground. And she's untrue to her name. Her paper name is True Grit Piper. She will not, that I know of, kill a coon on the ground. So it got away and it went up the tree. And I'm looking around and finally I spot the coon and I shoot it out to her. And I think that was my mistake. I wanted to reward her, but like you said, Calvin, you don't hunt around the house. I should have just leashed her up and walked away. But anyway, shot the coon out. She got it. We're walking back to the truck. The dog strikes again. Actually, she was not leashed. So she's struck, and I'm like, not again. And she just headed, I don't know, 100 yards down the creek to the creek side, and she treed again, and it was another coon. And I'm like, well, might as well. So I shot that one out and skinned them in the morning.
Yep. Well, next time we're going to have to put a time limit on your stories.
Sorry. Yeah. I don't know how to shorten it.
Yeah, you definitely take the role of Steve pretty good, so we're okay.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Hey.
All right. We can re-record that if you want. I don't know how to shorten it.
Oh, no. We're going to leave that in there just for Steve. So, hey, the real reason we're here, Calvin, the reason you're welcome back to the podcast, by the way, Calvin. This is your second appearance, but the reason we invited you to come along today is because you're going to be the outfitter for our Houndsman XP Freedom Hunters hunting trip on the res this winter. And with us today, we have Tanner Babb, who is going to be our veteran Gold Star family member hunter that's being sponsored by Houndsman XP and Freedom Hunters. Tanner, you've been hanging on the line and worked us into your schedule to be on the podcast. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good. I'm excited you guys had me on, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to have you, and really glad that you took time today to talk to us. But one of the reasons we wanted to have you on was so that our supporters who we're starting to pick up some steam on donations and things like that, but they need to know who Tanner Babb is and catch some of your story here and know who they're supporting. So, how old are you, Tanner?
29.
29. Whereabouts you live?
Down in Evansville, Indiana. We're right on the river, right across from Kentucky.
Yeah. So give us some backstory, Tanner, on your family life, who you are. Tell us about your service in the Marine Corps. And by the way, we got 3 jarheads in this thing, so something's liable to get tore up or broke here. So,
naturally,
yeah.
No, well, I had served for 6 years in the reserves. Started out as Kilo 324 back in 2012, and then it switched to Bravo 124 with some restructuring as a machine gunner up there, and enjoyed every minute of it except when I was hating it. So.
That's the way it always is. When you're out, when you're in, you can't wait to get out. And when you're out, you wish you were back in.
Yeah.
Have you been out long enough to wish you were back in yet?
Yeah, I think that next day I wished I was back in, but it's got some other stuff I'm trying to put time and energy into. So I just had to tell myself I was done as soon as my 6 years was up and let the younger guys take over.
Yeah. Well, Calvin, you spent, 10 years, Calvin?
Yeah, 10 and some change, yeah.
And you did 5 deployments?
Yep.
Do you wish you were back in?
Now that I started hunting, no. But before it was a big life change. I was so used to the structure and things being on schedule, and then got out and everything was not that way, and it was tough to adapt and change. But you know what? Now I'm used to it, so
yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, I do miss the brotherhood and the camaraderie that comes with it. But at the same time, nothing beats family here at the house, even though everybody in the Marine Corps is family. But your real family, really nothing can beat it. So.
Right. Well, Tanner, you're what's your background in hunting and?
Actually, it's pretty limited compared to all you guys. I've only went hunting with a dog once. My buddy had bought one, and we were going to start rabbit hunting. Went out, didn't see any rabbits, but watching the dog hunt was one of the coolest things I've seen while we were out hunting. And we were excited to go the next weekend, and somebody had stole his dog. So hound hunting just the one morning.
Wow.
Besides that, yeah, it was. I don't know what exactly took place, but he wasn't able to get it back. But besides that, deer hunting, still haven't got my first deer. Pretty unlucky or just unknowledgeable. One of the two, probably a combination of both. Trying to learn off YouTube and anything I can find online. But squirrel hunting, dove hunting, always have a good time with buddies doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So turkey hunting, went a couple times. Definitely jacked a couple hunts up there. Had turkeys right in front of us, fumbling around, scaring them off, or not being able to call them in close enough for a shot.
Right. Turkey's pretty tough. Turkey's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Just to fumble around the woods and stumble into one. That's a pretty tall order to fill right there. You got to have a pretty knowledgeable base sometimes. I mean, yeah, you can luck into one and ambush one, but as far as going out and trying to feel your way in around in the woods and figure out turkeys without a mentor is pretty tough. Well, before we get into the freedom hunter side of it and things like that, Tanner, I want to ask you to kind of share some of your story about your dad, and I'll kind of set this up a little bit. And I don't have all the information because I was not serving with your dad at the time that he was killed in action, and but that's what makes you a Gold Star family member is the fact that your dad, Brock Babb, who I served with in the same company during Desert Storm after the attacks on 9/11. He was already discharged from the Marine Corps. He re-enlisted, and then he redeployed and was ultimately killed in action in the Anbar province when his convoy was struck by an IED. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So give us a little bit of backstory on your dad, and you said in other conversations you said that you like for people to talk about your dad and you like to share his story and things like that. So just tell us about your dad.
Okay. Well, yeah, he had did 6 years in the reserves back when I was younger. I don't know the exact year he got out, but it was after Desert Storm, and then he started a family with my mom and was real involved with the community, the West Side Sportsman's Club, the Junior Football League, anything really on the west side of Evansville that he could get his hands in. He was in there, whether coaching soccer, t-ball, real involved with the wrestling team. We were traveling every weekend for 4 months out of the year. And he had started a Brock Babb boot camp at the beginning of every wrestling season where he would take us out. And first year we didn't know what to expect, and we started running around up on Ryan Silva High School I went to, running around in formation, and he started singing cadences for us, and we had the Little Yellow Birdie with the Little Yellow Bell cadence came up, where towards the end of it you crushed the little birdie's head. So we all got jacked up, fired up, ready for the day, and about 10 minutes later, he had all of our souls crushed with all the stuff he had us doing that day. But and they actually keep that going every year, where they have the National Guard come in or Marine recruiters. They have some servicemen come in every year and keep the Brock Bab boot camp going for the wrestling team.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was always involved with the community. And then 9/11 happened, and it took a couple years. Talking to him before he went, he knew he was going to go as soon as 9/11 happened. He was just waiting for the right time and praying and meditating over it and trying to figure out when that right time was. And he said he had gotten a couple answers because he was up still helping with wrestling, and went to wrestle one of the heavyweights, just kind of drill with him. He said after 30 seconds, he realized that was his answer for not going yet. So that next week, he picked it up, went out, bought a bike, bought some new running shoes, got a gym membership, and within 4 months, he was back in shape and ready to go.
So he didn't go. The answer he got was, "Hey Brock, you turned into a fat boy while you were discharged, and it's time, you got to get back in shape."
Yeah. You're 40. You're not 21 anymore. You gotta put some effort into it, and he took that and made it happen.
Right. Did he re-enlist in the reserves, or did he go active duty, or what was the story there?
He went back in the reserves, and actually he was in Kilo 324 out of Terre Haute, the same unit I was able to get into. So that was pretty awesome being able to serve with some guys that he had served with. But yeah, and he had fought, and I don't remember the exact time span, but he had fought for a while to get put with another unit, just for the deployment. He wanted to get over there as soon as possible, and I'm going to say a year and a half, 2 years, he was fighting to get deployed with any unit that would take him, and it just kept coming up where it wasn't happening, and then finally he got sent with his own unit. So
yeah, what was his MOS, Brock? What did he do?
He was a rifleman.
Yeah. And I remember at the end of our deployment, I must say, he was a sergeant when he was discharged the first time and came back in as a sergeant. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And the thing I remember about him, of course, was the red hair, and he was serious about his job, but he was also able to lighten up and cut up and have a good time. He loved being a Marine. He was a Marine's Marine. He was a great leader and always inspired the people that were under his command there to be great Marines. So this project is really special to me, and even though you and I have never physically met, I want you to know how much it means to me and how special it really is to be able to be involved in this whole thing.
Thank you.
Yep. Lauren, you got anything?
I think I had something to ask along the way, but my memory does not serve me well. So,
yep.
I don't know. I'm just excited to be a part of this, and help with fundraising and, get to know everybody's story. And I don't know. I feel it's special too. Both my grandparents, my granddad and my grandpa are vets, and even though I haven't served, it's still something that is very important to me. And I thank everybody for their service. All three of you guys.
Oh, you're welcome. Our pleasure.
Yeah,
it's our honor to serve. Calvin, you're awful quiet. You got any questions for Tanner before we get rolling here?
No, I'm good. I'm just, listening and letting them say his piece, and I'm pretty sure, more conversations will aspire when he gets out here. I just know that it's going to be a fun time. There's like 2 other houses that are around here that were asking me the other day if they could, if that was, this whole project of ours was, exclusive to, just us being able to go out and hunt. And I informed them, no, if you want to come out and hunt, you got a tag, by all means come out and help us. So there's two other houndsmen that said that they would come and join us, but they're going to be, scouted in a different location. If they cut a big track, they give us a call and we'd be able to, move in that direction. So
that's what it's all.
And there's other houndsmen out here that are reaching out and asking how they can, assist not only with donations but with their time. So it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's what, teamwork's about. I remember it was kind of the same situation bear hunting. When we knew someone had a tag and we're trying to get it filled, different groups of guys will communicate on the radio and say, hey, do you guys need some help over there? We've got a good track here, something like that. So that's great.
Yeah. Calvin, describe to us, describe for our listeners and for Tanner, because he's going into this thing blind. Describe for us the type of area that you live in and the type of area you hunt in, and specifically what I'm sure you've thought about where we're going to hunt during this particular hunt. Can you give us a little background on that?
Yeah. It depends on Tanner. How physically fit are you?
He's a beast.
What are your beast? If you're a beast, we'll be climbing around on top of the mountain and having you dig us out of the snow piles when we get stuck. So I think we'll be okay.
Whatever you say, yeah. No, the day after I found out I was going on this hunt, I changed up my whole routine, and I didn't want to be holding anybody back or making the trip any harder than it needed to be. So.
Well, pretty much where we're going to be hunting, it's all up to you. If you're, the bigger the cat you want, the more rougher the terrain we're going to have to hunt. But even with saying that, I've had 60-year-olds go out with me that were in fairly decent shape, and he was able to, put his tag on a Boone and Crockett. So, and majority of the time where I would like to take the majority of the hunters and down towards the sagebrush flats in the wintertime, and that's near Canyon de Chelly, which is a huge monument that's here for the Navajos, and so we'll be able to hunt that area, and that's all just rolling sagebrush flats. And anywhere between maybe 5 to 12 inches of snow, majority of the time is where we're going to be hunting. And with the little trucks that we do have, I drive a Ranger, and then we'll be using a single cab Toyota Tacoma as well. So we have little trucks that'll be able to get way back in there, and we'll get as close as we can. The furthest I've had to walk is about maybe a mile and a half, I think, in the snow to get to the tree. But it's gonna be okay. We're gonna be fine. We'll find some game to chase. Even if we have to, we'll take you to the local store here and get you a small game permit, and that way we'll be able to put down on any track we see bobcat or mountain lions, and we're gonna have a good time.
Awesome. That sounds great. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for it. I think Chris, I told you right when I got the first text, I get text scams all the time, and I got that text and I was like, man, this is probably a scam. This doesn't sound. I was like, well, it doesn't matter if I say no to this. I'm scam or not. I'm crazy. So no, I'm excited for the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to be taking you. And Lauren's got a question before we get to that. Calvin, just so you know, you ought to look at Tanner's Facebook profile, and you'll see that he's up for the challenge. I'll just leave it at that. He's got an athletic background. He's a Marine, and I know that he's been working out hard and getting ready for this. So I would say that Tanner is probably not going to be the one holding us back. I'm just going to go out on a limb because I'm good once, but sometimes like Sergeant Major Glass said in one of the other podcasts, sometimes I can do things that I can still amaze myself, but they're few and far between. Lauren, what you got?
Yeah, so I've been to Arizona, but not that part of Arizona. I'm just wondering, you said 5 to 12 inches of snow. What's the weather typically like? Like temperature, snowfall, how often it snows, and like, do you ever need to use snowshoes? Like, I'm new to this as well.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I've only used snowshoes one time. That was about maybe 2 years ago when the snow got really bad. Last year the snow was deep, but I didn't need snowshoes. I just was able to get around without it. Well, it depends on what part of Arizona you went to, but everything from Flagstaff is like the middle part of Arizona. Everything north of there always gets snow no matter what, because everybody thinks of Arizona and they think of Phoenix, desolate, desert, desolate type of place, and that's not the true, that's not actually Arizona. But where I live, it's around 7,000 feet, and the top of the mountain reaches all the way up to 10,000 sometimes at some points. And we get our fair share of snow. So, and it's gonna be interesting. Just make sure that you guys have snow gators. It's a huge lifesaver out here, because last thing you want is your pants to be soaking wet while you're walking around, and make sure you at least have 400 grain boots, insulated boots. That's usually about the best type of boot you could wear to keep your foot dry and warm.
Yeah, I was going to ask about special gear that you would recommend, and that definitely helps there. I don't have any hip or snow gaiters, but hip boots in the Wisconsin winters seem to do me pretty well.
As long as it can repel the snow and keep your pants dry from absorbing a lot of the snow, it's going to be fine. So it doesn't really matter. I mean,
we just got to make a good list for Tanner on what we need to get him.
Okay, so I've got one. I'll shoot it over to Steve or Chris there, whichever one can use technology to the best of their advantage to open up an email, and they'll have that.
Yeah. Well, we've already got a gear list that includes some gaiters and things like that. So, but it's still send that list over, Calvin, because I think it's going to be valuable. I'm sure I overlooked something, and we can see what we need. So, Tanner, you got any questions about anything? You got what's your expectation for this thing?
To be honest, just, talking to you guys, I expect to have a good time and hopefully come home with a mountain lion. I know this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's pretty wild to get a call and say, hey, we want to take you out and get you a mountain lion and have a good time for a week out in Arizona. So, yeah, my expectations are definitely up there. I'm excited. If I keep trying to explain my emotions, I'll be rambling for an hour. But I'm definitely excited.
Well, good deal. You got any questions? You got any questions for Calvin specifically?
Not right now. No. I've done a little Facebook or Instagram stalking. On Calvin, and the area looks amazing. I can't wait to get down there and see the area in person.
What time in the morning do you typically start and look for tracks, and what's the temperature variance during the day?
Oh, yeah, you asked me that. I apologize. That just went right over my head. Right now, the temperature where I'm living at 7,000 feet is right around maybe 10, 15 degrees outside right now. And then when we get up on top, because I've been scouting for elk, so I've been driving up on top in the mornings, and yesterday morning it was at 0 degrees up on top, and that was at right around 8,900 feet.
Okay.
So it gets pretty cold. So, but the thing is, I tell everybody, make sure you dress in layers. Don't just, bundle up with one thick jacket. Otherwise, when you start, when it starts to warm up, you ain't gonna be able to strip off any clothes and get warm. And and stay dry. So make sure you dress in layers. Usually what I wear, is thermals underneath, pants, and then a thicker pants on top of that, and an insulated pants. And that's 3 layers for, my bottom part. And then my upper chest area, what I usually wear is the thermals, a thin sweater, and then a jacket, like a windshield jacket type of deal. And that's usually what I wear. And then as we make our way to the tree, of course, your body starts to heat up and you sweat. So I end up stripping off a couple of layers and putting it in my bag. And then when you get to the tree, your adrenaline's pretty much over and you start to cool off. So the layers have to go back on. So
that sounds like hunting during January in Wisconsin for coon. That's exactly. I've got to take off and put on, and you get very used to that. That's for sure.
Well, one of our sponsors on this hunt is going to be KUIU, and so real quick, when we hunt in Swamp Valley, Montana, I'll be wearing a base layer, and then wear their soft shell on the bottom, and then on top it'll be a base layer, a grid fleece top, a soft shell vest, and then the soft shell coat over that. And the advantage to wearing premium gear like that is it's not as bulky, it's lightweight, and then you can vent it. Like the KUIU Axis jacket, soft shell jacket, has pit zips, and you can open the pockets and vent from there, and the guide jacket's the same way. So Tanner will be outfitted in KUIU gear from they've agreed to come on board and give us a pretty substantial discount for that gear. So we'll get you up to speed, Lauren. We're not going to let you freeze to death or get overheated on the mountain.
All right, good. Because I've only been in this for 2 years. Well, I guess almost 3 if you count Maggie's first little trial that she did. And I don't know the best stuff to get. I still gotta talk to the professionals like you guys that know. Yep.
Well, hey guys, we've been running on about 40 minutes here, and Lauren, you got anything else that you need to wrap up on?
I think I've talked quite enough. You guys have heard a lot of my voice.
Yeah. Calvin, you got anything else you want to throw in?
No, not at this time, to be honest with you. Tanner, at any time, man, just hit me up on Facebook if you have any questions. I believe I sent you a friend request. I'm not too sure if you accepted it or not. If you didn't, that's okay too. But yeah,
I'm pretty bad about it.
At any time, you can hit me up. I work nights, so majority of the time I'm up at night working, and you can hit me up then. And then in the mornings, I'm out hunting, so sometimes I have a pretty decent signal and be able to get me there. Like this weekend, tomorrow morning, our outcut starts, so we've got the line on where the elk are. So yesterday morning when I went out, we figured out where they were, and we saw 8 bulls and about maybe 50 cows out where we're going to be hunting in the morning in the flat. So tonight we're just going to pack up, load up, and head up to the mountains, spend the night, and ambush them in the morning. Hopefully by 9 o'clock we're loaded and headed home. So
that is,
I'm always out.
You just jinxed your whole hunt. You've already got it planned out.
Yeah, that is the plan. Is it going to happen that way? Probably not, but it's okay. It's part of hunting.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, he's optimistic.
That's right. That's right.
And Tanner, I want to say I'm in the same boat as you for deer a little bit. You've probably been trying for longer than I have, but I have my first gun deer tag this year, and we're going to see what happens. Not sure. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck to you too. When is your season going on, or?
We have archery going on right now, but I haven't had a chance to practice with my bow in a while, so I haven't made it out there. I'm not as confident with it as I should be. So
hey, at least you have a bow. Whoa.
Yeah.
Sorry, my microphone just fell.
That was
Sorry,
a crash.
guys.
All right. So, Tanner, you got any final thoughts while Lauren's picking up the pieces there?
No, like I said, I definitely appreciate everything you guys are doing. And Calvin, I'm sorry, I'm pretty bad about getting on Facebook, so I'll get on there right after this and accept you.
No problem, man. No rush.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And then my phone number's on there too. You don't have to, just hit me up on iMessage or Instagram message. You can just text me at any time you want, man. My number's on there, or if you got a pin, or you can even text Chris. Chris has probably got me on speed dial because he calls me every other day asking how his dog's doing. So.
We won't get into that. Proof's going to be in the pudding when I get out there and see what kind of magic you've worked on her, Calvin. That's I've seen her picture there a few times. But Tanner, you got anything else before we wrap it up?
Nope.
All right. Well, I'll just wrap it up, and I want to give a big shout out to a couple people that deserve some recognition on our podcast. One of them is Gary Robertson with Carnivore TV. He's working hard for a firearm from Ruger, and I think you're going to be really happy with the firearm that we're trying to get there. It's the 350 Legend in their American Ranch rifle. That 350 Legend is going to be a thumper. You need to do a little bit of research on that rifle. It's pretty amazing. It's a new cartridge that came out. I believe it came out in early 2019, but Ruger jumped on it and they built a nice rifle around that cartridge. But to give you some idea, it's 223 brass that's not neck down. So it's spitting those 145 to 175 grain bullets out of the end of that thing at 2,100 feet per second. So it's a screamer, and it'll be good for you back here when you get back to Indiana too. So, Gary, we appreciate everything you do for us and the work you're putting in to help this thing come off good. And Carnivore TV is going to be there filming this hunt, and so we're going to make you a movie star too. And so you'll be on the Pursuit channel. Hopefully, if we get the footage we need there. Eberly Stock is a backpack manufacturer, and Eberly Stock has come on board with us too to help give us a gun runner pack, get us a gun runner pack for you that you can carry on this hunt, and it's a gun carry pack. So my buddy Larry Anderson from Montana introduced me to that. I had other Eberly Stock packs, but the gun runner was a pretty special pack that he had on a hunt we were on, and now I've got one of my own. So I think you'll really enjoy that. But I just want to leave everybody with this thought, and we'll wrap this thing up. But we still need donations, and we're not just trying to sponsor this hunt. We've got hound adventures going on. We've got coon hunts in the east that one of our local clubs here in Indiana is going to host with Freedom Hunters. We're trying to build a bank account where we can continue to build funds so that we can continue this in the future for other veterans and deserving service members that want to go out and hunt with hounds. So we've got a couple other outfitters that have already expressed interest and want to become involved with Freedom Hunters, and that's easy to do. If you're listening and you want to get involved, you can just contact them at freedomhunters.org and tell them you want to be a part of the Houndsman XP Freedom Hunters program and get involved there. But we do need donations. And somebody called me the other day and asked me, well, how much are you trying to raise? And I said, as much as we can, because it's not just for this hunt. The other thing is they said, well, I don't know how much to give. Well, my advice to you is give like you're the only person that's going to give. And there isn't a better cause that we can be donating our money to than getting these veterans and Gold Star family members out here doing the things that we love. That's gonna secure the future of our sport. So At that,
Chris, why don't you tell them the 2 ways that people can donate?
you tell them.
Methods.
You tell them.
All right. Sure. So there's 2 ways you can donate. If you guys go on and check out our Facebook page, Houndsman XP, we've got a Facebook donate link there in our post that we made about the Hound Adventure. And then you can also donate directly through the Freedom Hunters website. And that's freedomhunters.com/houndsman-XP. Right, Chris?
Yes.
Yeah, so please go ahead, take a look. You've heard Tanner's story, you've heard about his dad, and it'd be great if you guys can help out.
Right. There isn't going to be a better thing that you can give your money to and support. And once you hit that, if you go through the website, that link that we gave you, when you make that donation, you will get a verification letter that you've donated to a 501c3, and you will get a letter back almost immediately that you can put in your files for tax purposes as well. So I know that's not the reason why anybody ever gives to things like this, but it is a nice benefit that the government has afforded us. So at that, Tanner, you ready to go on this hunt?
Oh, yeah, definitely ready.
Yeah. Well, Calvin, I appreciate your time today, taking some time out of your day to be on the podcast with us.
Yeah, no problem. As soon as I get done here, I'm going to probably head back up and do some more scouting and look for some more tracks.
Yeah. I can't wait to get out there with you. I'm gonna hang around for a few days probably and hunt after the Freedom Hunters hunt too. So looking forward to it. And looking forward to seeing you again. It's always a blast having you around in camp and stuff.
Yes, sir. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, when we get out there, Tanner, there's going to be a lion track that's crossing the road. We're going to find one, probably multiple lion tracks. And just to give you an idea of what happens a lot of times when it's on a slow day is the call will come out that they've got a lion track, and you're going to see trucks converging on this track. And when we cut these hounds loose, not all of them are going to go the right way. But this is our motto. You follow your hounds, and I'll follow mine. We are catching up with Steve mid-conversation right now. He's traveling across West Virginia, so let's pick this up. Thought that I would call and do a little recording while you're on the road.
Yeah.
Kind of set it up as a... Les Nessman, traveling reporter.
Yeah, the turkeys are going to be falling here pretty soon.
That's right. See, that's why I'm recording right there. We can't rehearse that. We can't capture that. We can't get stuff like that just by setting this show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they've been genetically engineering them, though, now where they can fly a little bit.
That's right. They do.
But
Are you in a good area? Have you got good cell phone coverage?
Right now, it seems to be. Let me look and see. Look. Man, I got 3 or 4 buttons here now. I just pulled out of Gent, West Virginia. That's with an H. We use all the letters we can down here. There's only 26, and we try to use them as often as we can. But it's spelled G-H-E-N-T. That's the home of our friend Les Bolin.
Yeah.
And I just came through the toll booth on Interstate 77, heading north toward Canning, Pennsylvania today. And yeah, I'll be going through my old hometown and
of
all
Beckley.
that bit. So yeah, I got just Beckley.
So
Beckley, General Alfred Beckley.
That toll road in West Virginia is a racket. I just want you to know that. And you need to,
You tell me.
You need to contact all your old contacts in West Virginia and let them know that I think that toll road's a racket.
Well, everything's a racket in West Virginia. I always fill my tank before I go across the line, and either direction, because high taxes in West Virginia.
Yep.
Yeah, this toll road is kind of an interesting story. It used to be called the West Virginia Turnpike. And did we go over this before?
Yeah, but we haven't
Did I tell you about
we haven't gone over it with our listeners.
Well, the deal was they built this thing back in the 50s, and it's 88 miles long from the southern tip in Princeton, West Virginia, to the northern tip in Charleston. That portion of I-77 was called the West Virginia Turnpike, and they built it at a cost of $1 million a mile. It's 88 miles long. When I started out way back, and driving and that sort of thing. In fact, one semester I had to commute from my town of Beckley to Charleston 3 days a week, and you could go for $1, maybe 75 cents. Now there are 3 toll stations on that 88 miles, and it's $4 a pop. So you got $12 in the ride, that 88-mile ride.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so there's a couple things there that you talked about. One is the toll road's 88 miles long, and where we just came from in Texas, I don't even think that covers a county in Texas. So you're talking about going across a whole state. And, and then,
for sure.
And then we were just texting back and forth about you getting a cup of coffee, and how much was a cup of coffee when you first started driving?
Probably 10, 15 cents. Yeah. It's all relative. Where there's a will, there's a relative. And it's like that. But they like your money in West Virginia.
Yeah.
They like it, and they want you to leave as much of it as you can. When you come through.
That's
sure.
right. That's right. Well,
yeah.
we'll kind of set this up for the listeners a little bit. So you're on a road trip right now. It seems like you're like a Buckeye. We can't keep you home. Everywhere we turn around, Steve Fielder's there. So.
Yeah. A moving target's harder to hit, they tell me.
Yeah. So you're on your way to Pennsylvania. Yeah, you're on your way to Pennsylvania to pick up your pup Cruz from Randy Smith, right?
Right.
Are you going to get any hunting done?
Correct.
Are you going to get any hunting done, or are you just going to be an interstate coon hunter?
No, the plan is to hunt 2 nights in Pennsylvania. Tonight being a Wednesday, I believe, and tomorrow night, and then head back, and I'll be stopping off around Blacksburg. Well, actually, it's a little detour to the east, but I'll be stopping off to hunt on Friday night with my buddies over there, Heath Hyatt and maybe Glenn Price. Guys who I'll be bear hunting with in December.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do 3 nights in a row here, and then maybe get out a night with my brother, maybe Saturday night. My plan is to get in at least 3, maybe 4 nights coon hunting before I head back next Monday.
Yeah. It sounds like you got a full schedule.
Yeah, it's just a little kind of get my little dog ready a little bit for the White River trip, which will be coming up the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so
that's only a couple weeks away from right now.
Yeah. This episode would probably be playing about the time that you're on the road to Arkansas, I would say. Yeah, I imagine so. Hey, man, I'm going to give you a shout-out, Chris, to our listeners. I think people don't, I think they understand. I think they're perceptive enough to understand who's the techie in this group. And it's definitely not me. We're in trouble then.
But man, all the work. Yeah. But our listeners need to know, and I want to say publicly, that you do all the production on these podcasts, all the recording, all the piecing together, and making my mistakes look good and making it all sound good. The pre-rolls and the background, everything that goes into the production of Houndsman XP Podcast is done by you, and I think you need to be recognized for that, so our listeners know that it's just me beating my gums here, but you're the guy that makes it happen. So
well,
I just want everybody to know that. I know you didn't ask me that to say that, but that is the truth.
I appreciate that very much, and when my contract comes up for negotiation, I'll make sure I remind you of this.
Yeah, we'll bring it before the board of directors, okay?
You know it. You know it. Hey,
kind of like Mayberry, right?
That's right. That's right.
We're the sheriff. We're the
justice of the peace.
The mayor, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, I know you're on the road and I know you're busy. It's concentrating on getting up there and making plans for big hunts. But I want to talk about a few things that are going on in Houndsman XP right now, and bring our listeners in on the loop on some of that. And sounds like we're getting some interference there. Can you hear me all right? Les Nessman, are you there?
I can. I've got 5 bars here. It's not on my end. Can you hear me?
You mentioned Mayberry. Bear Branch is behind Mayberry, and that includes internet connections. So if we have to, we'll get a string and 2 tin cans together and try to get this recorded. But one of the things...
Okay, I'll look for a pole I can climb up on here. Green Acres.
Yeah,
okay.
Or Mr. Beavy, since we were talking about... You remember Mr. Beavy off of that episode? The man with the tin hat that could walk in the trees and make smoke come out of his ears? Mr. McBeavy.
We're dating ourselves here, Chris.
You got that right. I knew it was time for me to hang up the whole drill instructor gig when I would look at recruits and talk to them about things like the Andy Griffith Show and Green Acres, and they looked at me and they didn't have a freaking clue. I knew I had no more material left. It was over.
That's right. Well, wait till you get my age. You'll feel that more and more. Yeah.
Yeah. But, hey, one of the things that I want to talk about.
Old guys like me, that's real quick. That's why old guys like me always seek each other out and sit on benches and talk.
Right.
We're the only ones that can understand each other, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, talking about age, by the time this podcast comes out, I will be retrofitted with some bionic ears. I finally bit the bullet and put, being pragmatic over being vain, and I'll have a couple of hearing aids, courtesy of the Veterans Administration. And thanks to Uncle Sam for taking my hearing, but now they get to pay for some new ears for me. So when we sit on the bench, I'll actually be able to hear you.
Well, I tell you what, that's an important faculty there for a hounds person to be able to hear, because this sport's pretty much all about that. So, well, good for you, Chris.
Well, I tell my wife I tell my wife it's so that I can hear her better, but it's really so I can hear my hounds better.
Right. And you can secretly, I imagine you can reach up there and turn that down when the conversation's not going to your liking.
That's right. Say, these dang things, what is going on with these hearing aids? These things aren't worth a quarter. Right. They're not worth a flip of a wooden nickel. I need to take these back.
That's right. That is right.
Well, this is fun.
Well, last time I came down this way, I missed my road, so hopefully I can multitask here and get the right exit this time. But go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so we're having a good time, just cutting up and having a good time here. But a couple things going on in Houndsman XP, and one of the things I wanted to talk about was this Freedom Hunters hunt that's coming up in January, and maybe give some more information and some background. And we've sent out a bunch of flyers in the form of a media kit where people can donate. And Lauren Branny, our third team member, did an outstanding job on that flyer. It's got hyperlinks in it. It's a beautiful piece of work. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but I think one thing that people don't understand or don't know because we haven't told them is that this partnership with Freedom Hunters is going to be a long-standing deal. We want sustainability and stability in this partnership with them. And any money we raise is going to be used for these hound adventures through Freedom Hunters all over the country, not just this hunt. So we're really asking for people to dig deep and support this so that we can have a long-standing, sustainable relationship with Freedom Hunters.
Well, I agree, Chris, and that, the patriotism and respect for our veterans and our love for our country is the underpinning of this effort of Houndsman XP. We've said this many times. We come at this from the position of being veterans ourselves, our parents, people in our families, friends, the whole deal. We want to do all we can for those who are doing so much to keep us free and give us the ability to get out here and run these hounds and that sort of thing. And I'm going to go through a toll booth here just a minute.
That'll be exciting.
That I've got. I hope I have enough pennies here to get through it.
Yeah. So
I don't know how much it is.
$4.
Go ahead. It's 75 cents. What do I do? Only have $1. This could be. I don't know. Does Common Core cover this? Do you have the manual? All right.
Did you make it?
3 coins in the fountain, and I get a green light. All right.
You're off.
Okay,
You're off.
Good to go now.
Yeah. So another thing that we need to bring up is every donation goes directly to Freedom Hunters. Houndsman XP collects zero money. We aren't going to take your money. So when you donate to Freedom Hunters, you are going to get a confirmation letter back. I was on the website the other day. Anthony's Pace out there has done an outstanding job working with his IT guy to get this set up where when you make that donation, then you will get a verification letter that you've donated to 501c3. Take that with you at tax time. I know people aren't giving because, they're looking for a tax break, but the government affords us the opportunity to do that, and you need to make sure that you're taking advantage of that too. So I don't want anybody to think that they're bankrolling Houndsman XP adventures for us to run all over the country, because a lot of this money is going to be used for hound adventures that we'll never be on. We'll never attend them. It's just hunting opportunities for veterans, and it goes directly to Freedom Hunters. It doesn't come in our bank account or cross our books at all.
Well, that's for sure, Chris. And I sent out emails recently with this nice media kit that Lauren prepared for us. And I try to make that point in my posts on social media that, I don't get on social media or email or whatever and ask for money. That's never been my deal. Well, I haven't needed to, really. But, I feel like I need to now. I feel like so strongly about this thing that we're doing for these veterans. I just want to see it happen. I want to see the smile on Tanner Babb's face when he walks up under that tree and sees that lion. I want, I just want to make that young man know that I appreciate the fact that he sacrificed his father, his father sacrificed his own life for our country, and that he in turn enlisted and is serving in our in the military. And you know, it's one thing to walk up to a guy in uniform and say, you know, thank you for your service. And I think that's great. But, you know, this is just such a tangible way and such a good opportunity for a veteran to really know down in his heart of hearts that these people do care. These hunters, you know, from all over the country made this happen for me. And I appreciate it, and I know he'll appreciate it. And that's just why this is so important to me, Chris.
I've spent several probably bordering on hours now talking to Tanner and lining everything up, and I can tell you that the young man's a class act, and he is this is such a small token of appreciation for what he's done, what he's sacrificed, and I can't imagine somebody not wanting to get behind this, take ownership, and say, hey, I helped do that for this guy. I mean, it almost, I get kind of emotional when I start thinking about the sacrifices he's made. You know, his dad, Brock, and I were teammates or fellow Marines in the same company. We were in different platoons, but we served together in the same rifle company during Desert Storm. And, of course, by now, maybe all of our listeners don't know the backstory, but Brock re-enlisted after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. And that's when he was killed in the Anbar province when an IED struck his vehicle. So, you know, it's a pretty special story for me, and we can't even begin to repay what this young man and his family has sacrificed. What else is on your mind?
Well, Chris, I don't know. You know, I could give you a little color tour here. Man, I hit this thing just right on this autumn foliage, on this drive up through I'm on what they call Interstate 79, and it goes right up through the gut of West Virginia, up toward Morgantown, where the university is, and then on in toward Pittsburgh. And I'm going north of Pittsburgh about 40 miles. Crossed over the New River Gorge Bridge, which is the largest single-span bridge east of the Mississippi. It's quite a thing. And to drive over that, you can't really get the scope of it. You need to stop at the visitor center and go and walk around, and you can see. But the amazing thing to me is I used to coon hunt right under that thing, and I looked down there, that 800 feet, I think it is, down the water. They actually, you know, parachute off of it and bungee jump off it and all kinds of crazy things. But
have you ever done that?
I used to be, no, not at all. Height and me, you know, airplanes are fine. I can peer out the window of an airplane down 30,000 feet. Doesn't bother me at all. Put me on a little with a railing there, 100 feet above the ground, and I'm like, the pucker factor kicks in, you know?
Yep, I hear you.
But anyway, yeah, this is the state of my birth. They call it wild, wonderful West Virginia, and it is a beautiful state for anyone that has not traveled through West Virginia. It's quite a beautiful place to be, especially in the fall of the year.
Yeah, I love being in West Virginia. Yeah. Yep, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is for sure. But every day in every state is a wonderful thing. You know, and it's just, we were just in Texas, in that South Texas brush country, you know, and that was awesome. And I'll be in those awesome cathedral-like hardwood bottoms of the Arkansas Delta here in about a week from the time I'm talking to you here, maybe 2 weeks. And that is totally awesome. And then can't wait to get out there on that Freedom Hunters hunt with Tanner and Calvin Redhouse and Gary Robertson and all those people that are going to make this great hunt. And you and I have got to get that big blue tick of yours, Mongo, and this logger-headed walker pup of mine together. We talked about having a locating contest because they both got a big horn, big horn. Yeah. So we got to try to make that happen during the coon season in Indiana sometime.
I might show up in Arkansas while you're there. You never know.
Well, hey, come on down. There's only 160,000 acres. We can maybe find you a place to cut loose.
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Sure.
Steve, I don't want to keep you. I've got a few things I need to get done today, but I just wanted to kind of have a little chat from the road with you. I thought it would be fun to have a spur-of-the-moment conversation and kind of take some of the stress of producing a show off of us and just talk to our listeners today.
Yeah. Well, it's a good idea, Chris, and I had a good service here, and looking forward to getting up with my friend Randy Smith. He's been a great friend that I've only known now for, since back in 2016 when he won the UKC World Hunt, and he and I have become friends, and always enjoy getting up there. But, yeah, being out here on the road and get to talk to our listeners on Houndsman XP is just a great opportunity for me, and I've enjoyed it. I appreciate you calling.
Hey, no problem. Well,
all right, buddy. You follow your hound, and I'll follow mine, okay?
Good advice. All right, be safe.
All right, thanks, Chris. Have a great one.
Yep, you too.
Bye.